I learned a super important lesson about haters and negative people in my Japanese language school, dude, here in Tokyo. When I entered Japanese language school, I only studied for like a couple months on my own in the States, as opposed to a lot of the people in my first beginning class here had studied in high school, middle school, college. They had studied Japanese language before. So naturally, when I got into school, my ability was terrible. My kanji recognition, my ability to write in Japanese was absolutely terrible. But thankfully, everybody around me was super supportive, always wanted to help, always complimenting me, saying, "Oh, you're doing great. Ganbatte ne, Jimmy dekiru yo, ganbatte ne, ganbarimashou." Really nice people sitting around me. And naturally, I was super uncomfortable, and I felt like, man, I need to bust my butt outside of class so I can catch up. So I busted my butt for like 6 months or so, even though I was like the worst in the class at kanji. And I don't remember why she brought this up, but my Japanese language teacher said something about, we've noticed a lot of students improving really, really quickly, or something like that. I don't know how this got brought up, but she mentioned that my kanji is amongst the best in the class now, despite me coming into the school with like no kanji knowledge at all. And this was across like 6 months or something like that. And I remember one of the girls who was sitting right next to me, and she had really, really good Japanese, especially at the beginning. Compared to me, it was so much better than mine. And she was always so supportive at the beginning. I remember like when the teacher brought this thing up about kanji, this girl next to me was like, "Oh, Jimmy, are you kidding me? Jimmy, his kanjis?" And she was like laughing. Like, of course, she wasn't like being like overtly like, "Oh my God, he's an idiot." But she was laughing, and she's like, "Oh, him? He's the one that didn't study at all in a formal setting before." And she was like going on and on. And I was like, "Oh yeah, it's kind of funny, but why are you making this big of a deal about it?" And anyways, I started to notice that with this same girl, and then this one other girl also that was sitting by me. The more my Japanese improved, the more they started kind of making shallow comments about me. They wanted to help me out a little bit less. And that's when I had this realization about haters. They're always going to hate you when you start threatening their level of success, when you start showing them that maybe you're on their same level, or you're improving quickly, more quickly than they are, or you are on a level above them. And you know, why is that? Of course, it's because it makes them feel bad to see someone doing better than them, right? Especially if they can do better, but they're just not putting in that effort. So people, of course, are going to want to help you and support you when you are the underdog, when you're the person at the bottom, when you don't have any success yet, when nobody knows you yet. They're going to say, "Oh, you know, it feels really good to support someone who is just starting out, because then you can be the guider. You can have the guidance. You can be the teacher. You can be the leader. Oh, hey, support my friend here. Support my little buddy. Look at me. I'm so virtuous by helping out this small person that needs help." But then, of course, once you start getting better than them, then, oh, suddenly you don't deserve your success, and, oh, you're a liar, or you're a cheater, or you're not actually as successful as you think you are. And this is very, very, very apparent, of course, in my life now, as my career is a public thing where everybody can see my performance all the time out here on YouTube and all my different socials. So, of course, this is why I'm going through this right now. And I'm thinking of all these situations in my head where I've dealt with haters in the past before, is because I get hate on, it doesn't feel good. I try to figure out, okay, so why are they hating on me? Why is this happening? And I come to these conclusions. So, you know, you can also think about like the music scene. I used to be in a band, and then after I was in a band, I was in a solo music project. And both like the alternative music scenes are completely full of people who are jealous, upset, mentally unstable. Of course, they're attracted to these scenes where they're making art and songs about how sad they are and how they're depressed, etc. So when I was in a band, of course, like all of the bigger local bands would always be dying to get the younger, smaller local bands on their shows and to say, "Hey, look at us, we're bringing up this band. Hey, check out Parkways. This is a new local band called Parkways, and we're going to let them open up for us. Make sure to buy some merch from their table after the show," or whatever, right? They would do this every single time. And then guess what happened to this band Parkways when the bigger band initially introduced them into the scene? Then this smaller band, we're going to call them Parkways. I don't even know if that's the name of a band, but I'm sure it is, which is so funny. They'd be like, all right, so Parkways starts getting a little bit of attention. They start getting some money. They say, okay, we're going to go to a legit studio this time. They go to a legit studio, and now they actually have music that sounds really good, and maybe as good as this band that is even bigger than them. Now, what happens? Do you think the band that's even bigger than them, they start saying, okay, oh, this is great? No, they start talking shit. And I saw this time and time again when I was in the music scene, when I was doing solo music, and when I was a musician, when I was a singer of a band. Every single time. New band comes up, all the bigger bands want to say, hey, we got to support this band. We got to put them on. We got to take them under our wing because it makes you feel good. You say, oh, I'm superior. I own the scene. I'll show you around. I'll take you under my wing, but you're not better than us. And then once they start getting attention, then you start saying, oh, they don't deserve that attention. I brought them up into this scene, right? So anyways, this band Parkways, right? Let's assume this is this small band Parkways. A bigger band brought them onto the scene, showed them around. Now, next time they go and play a show together, Parkways has 50 people show up. And although the bigger band should be happy that Parkways brought 50 extra people to the show to see them play as well, they're upset and they start talking shit and they start saying, oh, come on, they didn't actually deserve that. We taught them everything they knew. We brought them onto this scene. Their numbers are inflated. It wasn't actually 50 people. And this happens in the music scene. This happens everywhere in life. And of course, if you're not public, if you're not like a creator making music on YouTube, whatever, you'll notice this in your own social circles as well. It's just like I'm noticing this on such a larger scale because my career is public, basically. So I'm sure if you are trying to learn about any type of skill, we'll say that it's finance or something like that, and initially you've got some friend, of course not everybody's going to be like this, but if you have kind of a shallow or a low, we'll call it, friend, and first they want to show you that, hey, you should do this, you should invest here, and you start doing kind of well, and they're happy to help you out, but then you start doing really well, and then they start saying, oh, they don't want to help you out anymore, they don't want to support you, they want to say that you cheated, you don't deserve what you got, whatever. And if you are dealing with haters right now, if you are the person that you're on YouTube, you're a musician, you're in a band, whatever it be, I promise you, this is what you should do to understand how hate works. Go to your favorite creator that you can think of that is preferably someone who's like more neutral, not maybe going out and talking about politics in the world, but if you can say, all right, I am a fan of Mr. Beast, right? Because he's not like putting controversial opinions necessarily out into the world. He is just kind of posting these innocent videos, no matter how innocent they are, no matter how neutral they are, no matter how much he's just trying to help people. Go to one of his videos, go to his social media comments section, and put on like the newest comments instead of the most popular comments. And I guarantee you, without fail, within a couple comments, you will see someone saying, this guy is a terrible person. This guy, he doesn't give enough. He should be giving to poor people and homeless people enough. His videos are slop, whatever it be. And I mean, anybody else. I always think about this with Alex Hormozy because I watch this guy's content and I've learned so much. My life has improved so much from watching this guy. And I notice he gets so much hate. And I'm like, why does this guy get hate? He's not even posting anything controversial. He's just helping people. He's just telling people how to make money, how to improve your life. And he doesn't have this controversial personality or whatever, at least in my eyes. Maybe I'm just completely out of touch. But then I go to his videos, and if you look on like the newest comments, it's so much hate. It's just people looking for things to pick at. And it's crazy. It's like, okay, so at first I thought maybe I'm just like really controversial and really obnoxious, which I'm not going to say I'm not. Maybe I am definitely controversial and obnoxious. So I'm not saying, okay, you're going to get more hate, so you might as well just go out and say the most offensive, obnoxious stuff in the world. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying no matter who you are, no matter how innocent your content is, no matter how neutral your content is, people are still going to hate you once you start finding success. And that's because it makes them feel better to hate and rationalize, distort the worldview of about why you are successful than to just accept it and accept, hey, some people are better than me, some people are doing well in the world, and that's fine. So when somebody hates on you, when someone goes out and they start talking shit, they start saying, you don't deserve that, whatever, there are two things that are going on right here. So the number one thing that is happening when they say, they're going to come out and say say you're a YouTuber and you start getting a lot of views, somebody's going to come out and say, this guy's a racist, this guy, he bots his views, he doesn't deserve his success, he's a grifter. And what this does, the number one thing that this type of hating does is it makes them feel better about your success. So they can say either you're not actually that successful, your numbers are inflated, you're not doing better than me, or you're undeserving of that success. Oh, this guy is cheating people, he's lying to people, he's got all this paywalled content and people don't want to pay for that, he's a scammer, he's all worried about the money. So what this does, this is the first part about hating that makes people feel good, is this tells them that, okay, you don't deserve the success that you have, or you're not actually that successful. And of course this feels good because they can say, all right, nobody in the world is doing better than me. And if they are doing better than me, it's just because they don't deserve it. They cheated their way there, they lied, and nobody could possibly ever be better than me. And the second reason why hating works so well and why people love hating is because when they hate and when they say negative things about you, when you become successful, a lot of people, maybe even most people, slow down and stop driving toward the success. Because what happens as your success increases, the hate also increases. Once you start getting more hate, then you think, this doesn't feel good, my feelings are hurt, I don't want to get more hate, so I'm going to slow down, I'm going to stop. And then what is the hater doing? The hater is saying, oh, great, I knew your success wouldn't last, I knew you were going to fall off. Of course, see, I was right about this guy all along. They don't actually have that potential. And the reason that you stopped is because they came out and started talking shit when you started succeeding, and you felt bad about that, so you stopped. So you were letting the haters win. So saying all of this to come to this point of, if you are succeeding somewhere in life, the more you succeed, the more people are going to talk shit and people are going to be negative and people are going to hate on you. And that is not a coincidence. That is rather a built-in function of the game that we call life. So accept it, take it as a compliment, and run with it. Peace out.